It's a common misconception in fishing that when you first start off, which most of you will likely end up at the tackle shop, that when you first start off, they will give you advice. Um, this is actually one of the biggest misconceptions in fishing, and this is actually what burns a lot of people and I think turns people off the beautiful sport that is fishing that I am so clearly very, very passionate about. In my experience and all my other friends' experience, they will essentially just see you as a sale. When you walk in and you have no idea what's going on, you're buying your first rod and reel combo or something like that. It's like you just chum the water for the sharks, and they are ready to eat you alive. So they will sort of open their overcoat full of all these Rolexes, and you will have to choose these watches, but you can flip this up and look underneath, and maybe you'll find something worthwhile, which can happen once in a million of times, and I have an example for that in a short while. Just to understand, in perfect circumstances, all the prices that you see in a tackle shop are conservatively, by my estimate, 20 to 30% more expensive than what you could find in an online warehouse shop. What I mean by an online warehouse shop, by the way, is basically just somebody who has only an online storefront or is selling stuff for that is basically being shipped and delivered. Right? There are two reasons to go to a tackle shop nowadays, and if you aren't using these two reasons, then there's no other reason for you to be there other than you're giving them your money or your patronage. So these reasons are fresh bait, which still can't be shipped same day internationally or anything like that. And to be honest, I wouldn't really believe in it. I don't know how fresh or local that would be, which would essentially defeat the point. And the other part is if you're going fishing that very same day or a very, very short time between that point where you need to buy the product and when you're going to go out fishing. So you don't have a rod or a reel, fishing is tomorrow, time you go to a tackle shop. I guess you're fucked, you didn't really plan. But again, that's down to your planning. So just understand, in perfect circumstances, if you know exactly what you want, if you're somebody like me who cannot be fooled when it comes to the topic of fishing, I'm fucking vibrating in my chair here, you are always going to be upsold 20 to 30%. Conservative estimate. I've seen YouTube fishermen on this application here that create videos and have their own tackle shop, so to speak, where they resell Japanese imported lures, which I don't doubt the validity of them, but you never know. Which sell the lures sometimes at 200 to 300% markup and sell it to you as magic. Let's start with that example of someone getting sold up. So I have a good friend of mine. I've been fishing with him more times than I can count. He is an engineer. He's a smart fella, right? I'm not going to say much more about him, lest I get doxxed and then he gets doxxed and then the embarrassment of this situation falls upon him because he was a sucker in the moment, right? So what ended up happening is he needed a new bass spinning rod, something I do on this channel a lot. I basically go lure fishing for bass, and for that, like I recommended in my beginner combo fishing video, which is roughly around the time that I created this one, I'm literally wearing the same hoodie and everything else. You essentially want a longer rod, 9 foot is what I recommend, right? So he went into the shop, was looking for a bass spinning rod. And again, remember, I know this through my own independent research, whatever. I don't even sell bass rods to anyone, let alone do I have a connection with a brand or company or somebody else to come in to explain to me this. I had to learn all this and read all this myself through years and years and years. You would think that a salesman would know their product, at the very least, okay? But essentially, he goes in and he goes, I want a bass spinning rod. And the guy goes, yeah, okay, yeah, cool, we have a few rods there. And my friend goes, oh no, I want like a long rod, like 9 foot or something like that, right? Basically just says I want a long rod. And the salesman invents new laws of physics to create and generate this sale. Because that's what they see you as. They see you as money to be made, a sale to be produced. Okay, they don't care about the hobby of fishing in many cases, and they in many cases only see their bottom line as their target. Remember, at the very least, even when you buy exactly what it is that you're looking for, 20 to 30% margin is my estimate. In some cases, it can be greatly more or much, much more. So there is this instance where he buys this rod from the salesman in the tackle shop who says, no, this 6 foot rod, which was a Daiwa Saltist, Daiwa company which I stand by, which I think makes quality product, which I have no doubt in the validity of their product, but sells it in the 6 foot model. Which obviously, if you know the laws of physics, which I don't, but I can kind of understand and conceptualize it, right? My friend the engineer, he'll know all about it, right? It won't cast as far as a 9 foot rod. A 6 foot rod will not cast as far as a 9 foot rod. I'm not going to pretend to be Einstein and explain the reason why that happens, but that just isn't the case. It's observably not the case. he invented a new law of physics to essentially sell this rod to him, and I've had plenty of cases as well where they'll essentially say something to you which makes no sense. When I bought my first ever reel, I went in to buy my first ever proper reel after having kind of shitty plastic hand-me-down reels that I would have bought in some like Lidl or something, which actually are the little rods aren't the little rods and reels actually aren't too bad if they ever doing a sale on that. You're broke, go for it. Like it's not a bad idea at all. Sometimes that's where people start. But I wanted to go in and buy my first proper reel. So I said I knew one brand and I said, oh, Shimano. That's great. Yeah, I'll get a Shimano, please, or something like that. And then he was like, oh yeah, grand. He opens up his waistcoat, shows me all these shiny new reels, all of them out of my price range, price bracket. I tell him I do the old Sam Hides kit. Ah, bro.
Just hit my car. I'm on these pills, bro. I can't do 350.
Yeah, grand. Okay. And he kind of takes pity on me. He's like, okay, cool. Whatever. You don't have a lot of money. And then he sells me a Daiwa reel, which I still recommend to new people. So the recommendation is good, right? The one that he made in that instance that I kind of clawed for. There was a good bit of back and forth there, basically me saying, no, I'm not going to spend €250 on a Shimano. But anyways, it's a Daiwa Ninja LT is the reel that I ended up settling with. And he sold it to me, a model that was 2 years already expired, so not currently being in production, so good luck getting the parts if it ever breaks. And he sold it to me for €70, which you can now get from online warehouses, the modern, newer one, for 30, 35, in the same size that I bought it in. So just understand, in that instance, there was a 200% markup on me, and from my friend who bought the Daiwa Saltist rod in 6 foot, which is not what he wanted, not what he could have asked for, but it was basically just lied to by this guy who he would trust, who's in a sort of position of authority as being the guy who works in the tackle shop, who you would think knows his stuff. Essentially, that guy invented a new law of physics for him and sold him a rod. I don't remember exactly how much he paid for it. I just remember that me and my other friend who overheard this, and he said how much he paid for it. So first he was coy about how much he paid for it, and when he said, we were like, holy fuck, like that's some money. And the margin on that would have been ridiculous, because as soon as they see a name brand, they put a margin on it. So in my case, Daiwa, that's a name brand, 200%. God knows what my friend got it for, but he's got money, he's all right. But just understand, in many functions, they like work as merchants and salesmen. They will essentially, in many cases that I know personally, either from having it happen to me, have it happen to my friends, or being there at the tackle shop and kind of overhearing it and just kind of go, let me get out. They will often intentionally misguide you or give you bad advice or try to upsell you. And this normally works in conjunction with taking advantage of new fishermen who don't know any better. Like, how can I explain? Fishing is a complicated sport, but it's really made and kept complicated by essentially salesmen who will just go, oh yeah, no, this, that, the third, and invent a new law of physics for you in order to sell you a rod. These are the levels that some of these people will go to. Again, not all of them, but I'm sure, or at least through my knowledge, I've seen plenty of them, enough to warrant sort of a disdain for tackle shops. Will lie to you, will obfuscate the truth, will sell you dead stock, will give you something which is a margin on it, which is X amount on whatever it is. And for you, the end consumer, which is the person who I care about, remember, my business is not to care about the tackle shop or the business owner or whatever it is. Who I give a fuck about is the person who is fishing and the person who is into the sport or wants to get into the sport. And this person is being basically lied to. He's being misguided. He's being pushed down a way to basically make the sport worse for him and generate a sale for that other guy. And so he goes, fuck it, I sold, thousands of euro worth of fishing kit this month. I must be doing great. Fishing is a complicated sport, like I said, but it's complicated and it's kept complicated by salesmen. An idiot admires
complexity. A genius admires simplicity. A physicist tries to make it simple. Anyway, an idiot, anything the more complicated it is, the more he will admire it. If you make something so clusterfucked he can't understand it, he's going to think you're a god because you made it so complicated nobody can understand it.
It can be simple to understand fishing, as I've shown on this channel. If you watch my beginner fishing series, even though some of the earlier videos are slightly more amateurish in content and everything else, and I was experimenting with different stuff, it's been a year. But I've shown that it can be quite simple. And I've got plenty of messages, real, verifiable, like people, like real fucking people, which I sometimes forget that these videos actually go out to real people, who have said, oh, I've started fishing because, because I saw your videos, I got inspired by it. Like, it looks cool. And thank you so much. Like, I got the information from this, that, the third on the YouTube and everything else. And some people I just basically give out the Angler's Compendium to, because I'm like, man, fucking read this. Like, you just started. Like, you have no idea what's going on. Please. Which I will make free in the future, almost certainly. Because I don't know. I feel bad at closing it. But sorry, I'm getting off topic. Okay. The price of the things that you see in the tackle shop, like I've already basically said, when they're not lying to you, when they're not giving you bad advice, when they're not trying to just make a sale, get rid of dead stock, or take advantage of a new fisherman, they are always 20 to 30%, again, in my estimate, more expensive than they would be if you just bought it from an online warehouse. It's good to also understand that when you're buying from an online warehouse, they're making profit as well. So this isn't even the actual price of the thing, the cost price of the thing that they're buying from the warehouse. Not saying that there's a problem with making a profit. Okay, I'm not like, we're not going totally in that direction there. But all I'm saying is, these people are essentially justifying this massive margin that they're getting on you, in many cases by lying to you, by taking advantage of you, by selling you some dead stock, by inventing the new laws of physics, as I've already shown and displayed to you that they are more than willing to do, for nothing, for being the middleman, for being the salesman that's there. There are two reasons nowadays why I'd still say that tackle shops still have a place, and I don't see it getting replaced anytime soon, or too soon, should I say. One of them, which is undeniable, which is fresh bait, which local fresh bait, unless somebody else just starts doing it out of the back of the house, which I normally would always support. You'd always get it cheaper from like a local angler who's just going around essentially collecting bait in his free time when he's off work or whatever. Always recommend going to that, but fresh bait from a tackle shop, you won't be able to order that in at any sort of a cheaper price, and the local market will sort of dictate that wherever you are. And the other thing that they're good for still is the ability to go in, see the product, hold the reel and rod in your hand and have a look at it, but also that you can just buy it that day and get out of the shop, right? So like, you're going fishing tomorrow, you don't have time to wait for your order to arrive, you can go in and buy it. But I recommend, if you're a beginner and you end up watching this video, which hopefully it lands on somebody's For You page. Fuck, I'm not on TikTok anymore. I hope it lands on somebody's homepage that hasn't gone out and got their fishing gear yet. And just to understand that when you go into a tackle shop, the advice that they give you is going to be wrong in many cases. And in every experienced case that I've ever had, put it to you like that. So just understand that. And if you need any help with the research or anything like that, my DMs, emails, Telegram, everything else is open. sad@tissaprotein.me. Send me an email, I'll help you out, no problem. Or just watch the videos that I've discussed. My beginner combo video explains this fairly well. And I just hope this helps somebody. Because again, my perspective isn't to sell you shit or to peddle stuff to you that will just lead you astray and cause you to lose a whole lot of money. My perspective is that fishing is a really, really powerful, good, amazing sport that changed my life and fixed my shit up in a big time, in a big, big way. So I highly recommend it, and I highly push it. I'm very passionate about it. If you like the shirt or the hoodie, sadtiz.com. If you want to read the Angler's Compendium. God bless, be good. Au revoir.